What does Swagoo say?
G, you know what I say? I say Daniel Jones is a gangster. He lying, G. Look at me today, G. I'm already a beast, so we just gonna be beastie. I call you bro.
Yes.
You are my bro. Are you crying, son?
This is not exactly how I meant for this to go.
Take that and smoke it.
All right, now we really get to it. This is where we hear what people around the world of sports have to say, and then Marcus tells you what they really meant. And we begin, Marcus, with the Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, who was recently asked on KJZ on ESPN Radio about Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry's high cap numbers and whether the Browns could keep both of them this offseason. Here's what he said.
I think you go with what you have and you make sure that you're putting yourself in position to field a competitive roster for a bunch of years moving forward. So, yeah, I think we're in a good spot. The easy part to say is, hey, just give us more players. We want, give us 3 more great players on the offensive side and give us, 3 players on the defensive side. And we're going to spend this amount on each guy. I think we have a plan. We'll follow through with that plan.
All right, so that was a lot of words. Marcus, that's what he said. What does Swagoo say?
All right, analogy. Mr. Spears, hey, you have A1 credit. You've done a phenomenal job getting yourself to this position. You have the cash. We just can't sell you the home. Like, what? You gave me all these damn compliments. You know what kind of player I am, and you gonna tell me I can't get the loan to buy the house? That's basically what Kevin Stefanski just said. He sound like somebody that builds you up to let you down by not ever really saying anything. So that is why I think OBJ will not be a Cleveland Brown.
I completely agree. Next up is Baltimore, where the Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta was asked yesterday what Dak Prescott's new deal might mean for Lamar Jackson. Here's what he said.
If you go to the Bentley dealership or the Range Rover dealership, you know what the cars are going to cost. You're not going to get much of a discount. And I think he's very appreciative of the organization and our stance and different things. And we're confident and committed to trying to get a long-term deal done. And hopefully we can get that done at some point, in the near future. It may take a little time, but we're willing to try.
That's what he said. What does Swagoo say?
Okay, guys, listen. I've been to the Bentley dealership. I went to the Bentley dealership when I was making really good money playing professional football. And then I actually went in there and was getting ready to purchase the car and could not wrap my head around paying 6 figures. But Aaron DeCosta gonna have to. If it ain't the Bentley dealership, he gonna have to go across the street to the Ferrari dealership because that's what he got playing quarterback, and he knows that. So he ain't talking about Honda or Toyota, not saying they ain't good cars and people ain't getting around in them just fine. But he know damn well he better start at the Bentley dealership and he may end up buying a Ferrari.
I think that's an extremely perfect way to put it. All right, finally, who didn't love this? Did you see your buddy Orlovsky yesterday? He had this to say after having been all wrong all along about Dak Prescott and Dallas.
This is for Tad Prescott. Leave me alone. This is for Cowboys fans. I wore your colors. Leave me alone. In my mentions. This is for guys like Graziano, but most importantly, this is for my arch nemesis, Dominique Foxworth. Egg on my face on television.
He's got egg on his face. That's what Dan said and did yesterday, Marcus. What does Swagoo say?
Well, this is a special one for me, G, but this is all full circle. That moment right there, America, is Dan Orlovsky full circle. I'm going to take you back in time, G. Remember when you were at that show and Dan Orlovsky pulled out a trash bag and threw away people's takes about Carson Wentz, and then he gave us these trash takes about Dak Prescott? And when you give trash takes and when people give takes and they not trash, you end up with a damn egg on your head. So that was for everybody that Dan Orlovsky threw their trash takes away about Wentz. And we all kept that record of all of the things about Dak Prescott. A sticky head from a sticky egg.
That's exactly right. He took responsibility.
I can't hear you, G. I can't hear you. I lost you. I can't even hear you.
Well, that would be perfectly in keeping with all
Say
the other
something
technical
funny, G.
issues we've had on the show today, because candidly, nothing is working right. Let's do winners and losers and see if that works coming out of the Dak Prescott deal. Dan Graziano, if you can hear me, give me a winner coming out of Dak's contract.
I can hear you. I'm just sitting here Googling CMOS. But the winners are star players coming up on contract situations and other situations in the league in the coming years. This is one more data point that tells players you have more control over your situation than we used to think you did as people who follow the NFL. Dak Prescott didn't like the deal the Cowboys put in front of him 2 years ago or last year. He held out. He got what he wanted, and more players will follow suit.
Marcus, who do you think is the biggest winners?
Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They saw Dak Prescott hold out. They saw Dak Prescott go through the process. They saw Dak Prescott bet on himself. Now, I don't believe their negotiations are going to take as long as Dak's did, but they saw the money he got. The market still works. The market still matters, and the market can get you more money than you probably should get.
Right, like the aforementioned Bentley and Ferrari. Graziano, how about the losers? Who's the biggest losers out of all this?
Well, yeah, I think if you're another high-earning player on the Cowboys, you're looking down the road and wondering, how much longer am I going to be on the Cowboys? Dak Prescott's salary cap numbers will skyrocket in 23 and 24. Ezekiel Elliott, no more guaranteed money after 22. Amari Cooper, no more guaranteed money after this year. Are those guys going to need to start shopping for real estate in different markets than Dallas?
That feels realistic. How about you, Swagoo? Who's the biggest losers?
Gee, my biggest losers, but not in a bad way, are the Ravens and the Bills because of what I just said previously. They're going to have to pay their quarterbacks, these young, up-and-coming stars that's going to be the faces of this league and franchises for them. They're going to have to come off some money. So now you go into, you have to draft great. You have to get creative. You have to figure out free agents, guys that can come in and help you. They about to be in that window. It's a good window to be in because it tells you that they have a franchise quarterback.
Right, but for every good side of it, there are obviously some of the challenges. And so I want to bring Dwight and Tori back into the conversation. And Dwight, because of some technical stuff, we didn't have you at the very beginning of our show today when we were talking about that, the ramifications of this deal in Dallas. And what is your thought on that? It is my experience that all of you who made your living sacking quarterbacks down deep inside really sort of hate them. So as you see a guy like Dak, getting all this money in all seriousness and the ramifications that can have, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's a great thing. I mean, I think it was long overdue. I mean, you have a guy who stood up for their organization, has done all the right things. You know what? You got to pay your guys, and that trickles down throughout your organization as well. You see, you take care of your quarterback, you take care of your guys. Those guys on the team also feel like, you know what? When it's my time to get paid, I'm going to get paid as well. But the thing is, you have to have a staple of your organization, a guy who's going to lead that team. And now you have that guy. All right, you have Dak. Dak has to now forget about all the stuff that happened previously, all the problems. And now, since you signed on that dotted line, you have to think about how you're going to take this organization to the next level.
Well, it becomes his team now, right, Tori, in a way that perhaps he wanted it to be. And I think maybe his teammates already perceived it to be. But until they actually give you the keys to the car, to use that same analogy we were using a moment ago, you're not allowed to drive it off the lot. Well, now he can. Does that change anything?
No, it doesn't. Everyone knew that this was Dak's team, and even Jerry Jones and the Cowboys knew this was Dak's team. They just kept playing around with the money. And that's the way this business works. That's why I hate the fake deadlines, the franchise tag deadlines. If people want you, they can get the deal done. And we saw that. So now it's something that we aren't going to be able to talk about for the next couple of years. But Dak finally got what he earned. And now when you talk about the quarterback position specifically, when you play well, when you represent your team well, you get paid. That's like the circle of life in the NFL. You develop, you get paid. And so we shouldn't be surprised that we're finally here. And again, I'm one of the biggest fans of Dak going forward. And I'm glad that he finally received his payday.
Well, just very briefly on that, you seem to get a lot of people exercised on Twitter yesterday, which I get the sense you sort of enjoy. But you do not seem to be a fan of the franchise tag. What is your issue with the franchise?
I hate the franchise tag. Why are you giving up control? As a player, you're drafted where you're drafted. You don't have a choice of where you're picked or where you signed as a free agent for the most part. So you're there. Now you have this control. So I signed my 4-year deal. I played well. I'm supposed to be able to get paid based on the market value, not what you tell me the average is of some of the top guys. That's why the franchise tag is a problem. It controls players. That's why when I saw yesterday, specifically why I tweeted that, was thinking about Allen Robinson, a guy who deserves the opportunity to break the bank on the free market. Now he's forced to be in a situation in Chicago simply because they have that tag. Everything about the free market is about control, is about power. It's like that in the football world, and it's supposed to work like that in America. And now when you talk about Allen Robinson, he loses that control. Now the team has that power over him. Why do we even have that? I hate it. A guy does what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to get paid.
I'm being told in my ear that you guys are nodding like crazy. Dwight, why are you nodding? You agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to have more control. The players need more control, all right? And the owners don't need more control, all right? You guys, if you play out your contract, you do what you're supposed to do, all right? You're supposed to get a new contract, all right? That's in everything, right? Football, franchise tag. All right, that's more power to the owners, more ways that they can keep you and not, hey, I don't know if we want to give you the big money yet and all this other stuff. I agree 1,000%. They need to get rid of this franchise tag thing and just straight up, your contract's done, you either renegotiate or I'll hit the market.
Marcus?
Well, I can't add on to anything other than I agree with Torrey and Dwight. The bottom line is like that is how it should be. The allotment for owners and NFL teams to buy themselves time to pay a guy is crazy. Because if I was a player and I say, okay, well, you want to franchise tag me, I'm going to sit out and buy myself time until I'm actually a free agent. We'll say that player crazy, he ain't a team guy and all of that. And essentially, that's what these organizations are doing. So look, I hate the franchise tag, always have, and it doesn't give players an opportunity to get what they should at the time they should.
I have to break on that thought, but we have much more to do as we